Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/relationship advice, where I'm quite happy to hear that OP finally took the first step in growing a spine. Let's begin. Our first story is from Reddit user Unusual Capital 9083.
Throwaway account. My 29 wife 29 has been having an affair for 2 years, and I have been aware of it pretty much the whole time. We've been together 7 years and married for 5. We don't have kids. I have been working from home since COVID hit. For the last 3+ years, she has been a secretary in a large office building. Now, I'm not going to pretend like we had the perfect marriage 2 years ago and that I can't believe she would do this. I was totally complacent in my life and really wasn't putting much effort into our relationship at all. That doesn't excuse what she did, and she had her own issues with intimacy and communication that lead us to where we were then. I just want it clear that I'm no saint in all of this. I totally understand we were basically roommates that on rare occasions had sex. Well, I found out right away when the EA started. I've got all of our everything logged into every device we have, including my work computer. I mean synced email, text, photo, social media, etc. So I was basically reading her affair regularly, including when it became a PA about 4 weeks in. The part that told me this was over, though, was I felt nothing about this. I was totally indifferent. Maybe a little embarrassed at worst. When the PA started 2 years ago, I recognized this marriage was dead and that I should just divorce, mostly because I felt nothing. I started looking into lawyers and figured we could just do this easy and amicably. Well, here's where the crazy part happens. When the EA started, she seemed, I wouldn't say happy, but less sad. Then the weekend after the PA started, I got the shock of my life. She came into my office that Saturday morning and asked me to take her on a hike and picnic. Initially, I thought this is the moment to burst her bubble and reveal what I know, but I didn't. I decided to actually get up and do this.
By the end of this, you are going to be crying like a little bitch.
I kind of thought she was going to reveal it herself and ask for divorce. We had a real nice time. It was a great day, and she never brought up anything. I chalked it up as one more good memory before we end this thing. Then she asked me out again that week. Then we had intimacy. I don't know if it was shame or guilt or what, but she was basically taking the initiative to improve our marriage. After that first week, she began to open up more about her feelings. I, for some reason, had a fire lit under me and started to make some effort in our relationship. Started reconnecting with some old friends. Got all the laundry off the gym equipment. The affair continued, but as we spent more time together over those early weeks, and since it really gave me no concern and everything seemed better, I decided to just forget about it and divorcing her and just start enjoying my life.
That's stupid! You're stupid! Stop being stupid!
I do still love this woman very much. Up until 2 days ago, we were in a really solid place. We had outings every other weekend, date night Thursday, regular intimacy and communication. I don't even read their messages anymore, just occasionally to see if it's still going on. 2 days ago, I noticed she was having frequent and long conversations with one of her close friends. I asked my wife about it, and it turns out this friend's husband got caught having an affair. My wife has been comforting her. This would not have been a big deal, but my wife then started bashing the husband for cheating. I don't know why I said it, but it came out. You're one to judge. She got super defensive and pressing me for why I said that. I initially tried to apologize and move on, but she wasn't letting up, and I eventually spilled the tea. I've known about her affair the whole time. She tried to play dumb, which annoyed me, so I started citing specifics. She then got really mad at me, started crying, accusing me of not caring about her. I got pissed, then started yelling at her because I'm not the one having an affair. It got heated. We went to separate rooms and slept it off. Yesterday morning, she got up extra early and went to work before I got up. I tuned back into their messages, and she had broken up with AP. He was messaging her constantly on every app, and she just kept blocking him. She came home early yesterday. I went to talk to her, and she stopped me, looked at me and asked how I could let this go on. I replied, because I just didn't care. She then called me a huge asshole and locked herself in our bedroom until she left for work this morning. She got home tonight, said nothing to me, and locked herself in again. I can't even imagine in what bizarro world I could possibly be the asshole in this situation. Is there a perspective out there where I am? If so, please share it with me, because in my mind, there isn't. Now for OP's update. First off, I appreciate everyone's comments on the original post, except those of you that just get on and throw insults. You need therapy more than anyone on this whole sub.
Well, sir, if you're having a problem with our customer support, you can call 1-800-EAT-A-DICK. We don't even have those!
If you missed the original post, you can see it in my profile. I decided against showing the post or any comments. Instead, I used it to organize my thoughts and points. Our conversations I'm going to share below in no way were linear. We jumped around in topic, talking this, which led to that, only to come back to this, reveal that, and so on. So I'm going to just try and put it all together as coherently as possible. Like I said in a comment on the other post, my wife finally came out at around 12:30 a.m. Friday and joined me on the couch in my office. She curled in next to me and just cried for a solid 15 to 20 minutes, and we were just silent otherwise. When she was ready, we began talking until we were worn out. We picked that up again last night, which was also taxing. We finally finished up for now this morning. This includes long spells of crying, hysterical bonding, and a phone call to AP while I listened. He was aware. The start of the affair was pretty cliche. Flirty small talk makes her feel good, escalates, becomes messaging and sharing personal details, and eventually to kissing. Probably don't need to explain the rest of the escalation from there. We talked a lot about what got her to that point. She remembers it seemed like nothing she did could get my attention. I agreed with this completely. I also stated, though, that I don't remember too many attempts. She acknowledged that she wasn't very forthcoming in those days, always hinting at what she wanted and not just outright saying it. There wasn't any one moment she said that broke the camel's back, just a collection of times. When AP came into the picture, the validation was intoxicating, especially in contrast to years of neglect. However, she said she felt a ton of guilt and shame. She was in the same spot I was when it started, assuming we would just divorce as we were largely just roommates at that point. The hike and picnic were supposed to be the last bit of assurance that our marriage was over. She did not expect me to agree to go or for it to be such a pleasant time. From that point, we started reconnecting and she made the decision to make the effort as long as I kept making the effort. She opened up more and I was responding. That got us to where we've been the last 2 years. As to why she didn't end it with AP once I was back, she admitted she was just being selfish, kept telling herself she would, but didn't actually want to. I was planning dates, listening, and back to initiating intimacy often. He doted on her and validated her. She had the best of everything. Eventually, she just convinced herself what I didn't know didn't hurt me. This makes her feel stupid now, knowing I knew the whole time. We talked about my surveillance, and she said she is having trouble getting over this and feels betrayed. I didn't give her any excuses. It came up because she did ask how I knew, and I told her she's been logged into our old desktop/my work computer on her email, Instagram, Facebook for years, as well as it being connected to our cloud. I owned up to how wrong this was, but we both agreed that if we are going to make the reconciliation work, we're going to have to forgive each other for a lot of things.
Everything you say to me is pissing me off.
As many said, and were right about, my "I don't care" statement was extremely triggering and hurtful. It took her right back to where we used to be. I took advice and organized my thoughts and told her that it wasn't that I don't care. I care about her immensely and changed for the better these last 2 years because I wanted to be there for her. I then explained I should have said, "It doesn't bother me." She's still trying to wrap her head around this. I'm trying to explain how I just basically don't feel jealousy or insecurity, which is hard to put into words. It also causes a mix of emotions on her end. I told her that having her be happy again made everything worth it for me. Also, the affair got me off my ass for the first time in years, so in a way, I've kind of told myself it was a blessing these past years.
Wow, like a bitch.
And that's what Frieza said.
Finally, to address the breakup with AP, she said once it was out, she went into a doom spiral thinking everything in her life was a sham. She felt guilty over everything. She cut him loose and locked me out. She was basically beating herself up for being awful to both of us. Listening to her call with him was hard even for me. From what she's told me in our conversations and the call, I'm pretty convinced he was lashes in love with her. I think he was holding out hope we would divorce at some point. She laid it out for him that we would not, and we're going to do everything to make this marriage work. He didn't beg or degrade himself, but seemed genuinely hurt. When the call ended, she blocked him and stated she has to go NC so he can heal and actually go find someone, and we can fix our issues. We are working out our plans to fix our marriage. Not totally sure where to go from here. She wants individual counseling for herself, so we will make that happen. After she has done that for a while, we will probably start marriage counseling. We are also going to symbolically start fresh, and I'm getting a new work computer. From there, it's being open and honest with each other every day and making sure we are being present in our lives. I love this woman very much and want to make this work.
Why so weak? So weak.
God damn, this is painful to read. You're a joke. You're a fucking joke, OP. This is the woman who flamed her friend's husband for cheating while she was doing the exact same thing. She is a hypocrite and would have never ended the affair had you not informed her that you knew. The audacity of this bitch for her to feel betrayed when she was the one sucking some other guy's dick. She cheated and you apologized for it like a fucking spineless doormat. OP, you sound so desperate trying so hard to make this look healthy, but it's not. Yeah, sure, keep deluding yourself. Well, I guess I'll see you in a few months on your next post, bitching about how could she cheat on you again, got pregnant with Tyrone's baby, and asking you to raise it. Our second story is posted by Reddit user ThrowRA Lying Locate.
My girlfriend Amy and I went on our first date around 1.5 years ago, took things slowly while being exclusive, and have been officially dating 1 year. Overall, the relationship has been pretty good, minus some small hiccups in communication that she chalks up to her neurodivergence. Amy isn't great with texting, which I thought was a red flag at first, until I found out she's like that with almost everyone, most of her friends and family included. To give a little background, Amy and a few of her girlfriends go to this conference a few states over twice per year. It's a 2-day event, which they usually turn into a 5-day vacation because it requires a flight and hotel and is in a nice city. Amy's friend group is typically very active on social media during these trips, posting on their Instagram story during all points: flights, conference, beach, etc. This weekend was supposed to be their 3rd time attending. Amy and her friends have had their flights and hotels booked for a few months, confirmed by some of their posts on social media being excited about having everything booked. Unfortunately, the conference was canceled, but they already booked everything, so they decided to still enjoy a vacation. My girlfriend and I had a date night last weekend. She was telling me how excited she was for her trip. All was good, but at the end of the date I caught a glimpse of Amy's phone. She was on her airline app, and it looked like she was reading cancellation policies. We had a long day, and I was tired and felt like I was snooping, being nosy, so I didn't say anything. During the week, I asked Amy to hang out the day before the flight, emphasizing that I wanted to see her before her trip. Unfortunately, she was meeting up with her group of coworker friends, so she couldn't. No worries. The morning of her flight, I texted her wishing her a safe flight and happy trip, and she liked my message. We haven't talked since. As I said, she's not a big texter, so we usually don't text much besides planning dates and in emergencies. I figured she was on her trip, so I haven't texted to plan a date. Now, on to the meat of the issue. Amy is now supposed to be a few days into her trip, and I noticed none of her friends were posting on Instagram. I thought that was weird because they usually post a lot, but I shrugged it off. That was until tonight. Amy started posting videos of her at a show. It looked fun, and I didn't think twice about it, until the ending, where the show host called out, "Thank you," and then the name of the major city nearby where we live, approximately a 30-minute drive. I looked up the name of the show, and of course, it was in that nearby city this weekend, meaning she wasn't on that vacation after all, and never thought to say anything to me about it. I did a little snooping on Venmo, and found out that over 2 weeks ago, Amy's friend paid her back the money that Amy had her sent her for the hotel and car rental. So she's known the trip was canceled for 2 weeks, and hasn't said anything to me every time I brought it up. Where do I go from here? I feel like I'm suddenly spiraling, going crazy overthinking everything lately to see if I've missed any signs. I've already started assuming the worst, and I'm panicking. I'm out of town for the weekend, and I feel like this has totally thrown off my trip. Is this worth a conversation, or is the relationship already over? Is there any reason she would have not said something by now? Even if she tells me the trip was canceled right when I see her before I confront her, would that still justify not telling me until after the trip? Please, any advice is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Edit. Her best friend just uploaded a picture of them together during the show. So I know she wasn't there with some other guy, but that doesn't explain the lying. And now for OP's update. Hey everyone, I had some DMs asking for an update, so here it is. To quickly summarize my last post. A few weeks back, my girlfriend was supposed to go on a trip a few states away to go to a conference. I came to find out that the conference was canceled, and she didn't actually go and never even bothered to tell me. She lied by omission about it by not telling me when I texted her to have a good flight. I found out she didn't go because her best friend posted a picture of them at a show in our local nearby city. So here we are, almost a month later. I was a wreck and spiraling these past few weeks, and after being together for almost 2 years, I was too panicked to reach out and ask to see her. During the 3 weeks since her planned trip, she hasn't reached out once to me. That was until yesterday when she casually reached out like we hadn't just ignored each other for 3 weeks and asked to see a movie. So I just finally saw her tonight. In the car, I asked about her trip. Her facial response was really weird, like she got caught off guard. I'm guessing she was expecting me to forget about it after a few weeks of not seeing her. She just said, "It was okay," which instantly confirmed my suspicions. I asked her what she had done, and she said she went to that conference one day, which, as I said in my last post, was canceled, and went to a show after, before returning home the day after I made my original post. I asked her which, and she claimed the show that was in our local city. I was driving at the time, and it was dark out, so I waited to confront her as I didn't want to get emotional and endanger us. I confronted her for lying about the trip, doubling down and lying about the conference, and tripling down to lie about the show. Her immediate response was to start deflecting, saying that if this is making me upset, to imagine how she felt that her conference and trip was canceled. She said how she was so heartbroken and upset that the conference was canceled, which was canceled 5 weeks ago, that she didn't want to talk about it. She kept saying that she doesn't owe it to me or anybody else to tell us about her business and what's going on in her life. I, of course, called her out for gaslighting me, to which her response was that she was not gaslighting me. Kind of ironic, I guess. When I talked about how it made me feel and that she damaged my trust for her, she again tried to belittle my feelings by rolling her eyes and saying that it was only a show. This conversation ended up opening to a much bigger issue in our relationship that I didn't mention in my last post. Generally, Amy treated me really poorly throughout the relationship. She was hot and cold, put zero effort into communication, and it never felt like she made a priority. She'd give me zero affection or compliments, despite drooling and crushing over male celebrities all day. She's made little effort to connect me and her family and friends. We've talked about all of this a few times now. She would always say she was overwhelmed with some new excuse and promise it would get better. I would cave in and agree to work through things. As expected, things never got better. This time was the same, where she blamed a new job for being overwhelmed, and that's why she's been so distant. But this time was different. I guess her blatant lie to my face and you guys' comments in the back of my mind gave me power to put my foot down. I broke up with her then and there. She kept begging me for one more chance, to think on it for a few days, that she cares about me and didn't intend to hurt me, all that nonsense. But the whole time I was the one bawling, and there wasn't a tear on her face.
And now he's crying? Are you serious?
It really broke my heart ending things, but I've also really grown to hate myself for putting up with her treatment for so long. I'm hurting a lot right now, and I'm scared to get back into the dating world after 2 years of aging and some weight gain. I really loved her with every bit of my heart, and I'm terrified to picture my life without her. I really want to call her up and give her one final chance to get things right, but I know I'd never forgive myself if she didn't change and broke my heart again. I'm hurting bad, and I could really use some words of encouragement right now. Thank you all.
Honestly, fuck your words of encouragement. That's not what you need to hear. What you need to hear is the truth. And the truth of the matter is, OP, she doesn't give a damn about you. You're her safety net, the plan B that she keeps around so she has someone to pay the bills while she's out there having fun with random people. And eventually the plan B will ask her to marry after she's been ran through. Young man, in those 3 weeks that the two of you were not in contact, all of those times that she never contacted you for days, what did you think she was doing? You think that she was home alone watching TV? Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she was. Maybe she's different from all the rest. She and her friends was definitely not getting drunk at bars and grinding with other men. You'll definitely not find anything if you look at her messages. She definitely will not do those kinds of things, especially not to you. You're her beloved. She loves you with all her heart. She's definitely not in bed with some dude laughing at you for crying like a little bitch. Listen, young man, you may be hurting right now, but putting your foot down and finally breaking up with this walking red flag was the first step in growing a solid spine. I heard going to the gym accelerates this process. You may want to look into that instead of feeling sorry for yourself. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.